everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brittany of BrittanyJJones.com, and in today's video we are going to be sewing Mccalls 7630 View B. This is part of my September collaboration with TÉLIO, and I'm super excited about this project. This top comes together really easy, so I really do hope that you will join in with me. I'm going to be using some of their beautiful rayon fabric to whip this top up. I tell y'all it comes together super easy. So once you have everything cut out, all your markings marked, let's get started. Alright everybody, so to get started, the first thing we need to do is to go ahead, look at how pretty this fabric is. Ugh, I'm just in love with it. We need to go ahead and put our front to back together, right sides facing, and we're going to pin at our shoulders and our side seams right now. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my pins. I'm going to line up my notches that I have transferred up here at the shoulder and pin in place. Now that I have it all pinned at the shoulders and side seams, I'm going to take it to the machine right now. I'm going to be stitching at a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm going to back stitch at the beginning and end of the stitch. I'm going to continue doing this for the other shoulder and the side seams, and then I'm going to take it to my serger and finish off the edge. Okay, so now that I'm back, I have my shoulders sewn, my side seam sewn, and I finished off all of the edges with my serger, and I also gave it a good press, my seams. So next thing we need to do is just go ahead and stick this to the side for the moment and go ahead and grab our facing pieces. So it should be piece 6 and piece 7. Go ahead and grab those and apply your interfacing. I've already applied my interfacing. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pin here at the shoulders, and then grab these pins. Pin here at the shoulders, matching up your notches. Once you have it pinned, go ahead and take it to your machine. You want to stitch down these shoulder seams. Then you also want to finish off this edge. You can fold in 1/4 of an inch. You can serge it and then fold it in. If you have a little bit of bias tape you want to use, that would be really nice to finish off your edge. So however you want to finish off your edge, go ahead and do that now, and then sew your shoulder seams for your facing piece. Okay, so at a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going to sew the shoulder seam of the facing now, back stitching at the beginning and end. Now I'm going to go to my serger. I'm going to finish off the edge here, and I'm also going to finish off this outer edge of the facing, and then I think I'm going to come back and then fold up 1/4 of an inch to give it a nicer finish. Now you can see that I finished off the edge with my serger. I did want to point out that sometimes when you have this loose tail here after your serger, I like to just fold that over onto like the seam allowance, the rest of the serger thread, and just kind of zigzag that in place. That way I don't have this loose serger thread just hanging out, because sometimes this can come undone. So I just like to bring that over on the other serger thread and just zigzag that down. But for this one, since they said to fold in 1/4 of an inch, I'm just going to fold up my serger edge finish here, and then just do that all the way around the facing piece. So I'm just going to continue doing this all the way around, and you can see it's giving it a really nice finish on the right side of the fabric. Alright, so now that I have my facing piece sewn and I have it finished, you can see how I serged it and then I folded under 1/4 of an inch. And so now I can go ahead and grab the top, and we are going to sew the facing right sides together. So go ahead and find the 2 notches on your facing piece and line it up with the notches on the top of your top. And I'm just going to begin pinning my facing in place, matching up the shoulder seams and the notches. Okay, now that you have your facing pinned on to your top right size facing, go ahead and take it to your machine. You're going to stitch it down on a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, and then after you stitch it, you want to go ahead and do under stitching on it. So let's go ahead and take it to the machine and do that now. Okay, so now I'm going to sew my facing in place, and I'm going to sew on a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So now I went ahead and I trimmed down my seam allowance, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the under stitching. Under stitching, I'm going to keep my seam allowance facing this way, and I'm going to fold over my facing so that I'm only sewing seam allowance to my facing, not to my top. This will keep your facing from coming out while you're wearing your top, so don't skip this step. Okay, so now that I have my facing understitch turned to the inside and pressed, the next step is to do a basting stitch along the fold, and then you're going to follow that basting stitch with a top stitch. So basically we're going to be sewing our facing down. So go ahead and do that now. If you want, you can pin it in place, you can baste it, and then go ahead and do your top stitching now. Okay, so now, I don't know if you can see it up close, but I have went and top stitched my facing down in place. So now we can sit our top to the side and go ahead and grab our sleeve pieces. And we are going to put them right sides facing. First, you want to do some ease stitching from notch to notch. And then once you have your E-stitching in, you want to put these right sides facing. You want to stitch the seam down together, and then go ahead and finish your seam after you have it sewn, and then do a narrow hem on your sleeve for your sleeve. So again, do your E-stitching around the sleeve cap, sew down the seam, and then finish it, and then go ahead and hem while you're at your sewing machine. And then of course make sure you're pressing once you sew that, and then press up your hem and sew that in place. So let's go ahead and do that now. Not gonna even front, I was halfway through sewing the sleeve and then I realized I wasn't recording. Okay, but yes, go ahead and stitch your sleeves together. I've also done the E-stitching at the top of the sleeve cap. So go ahead and finish up your sleeve. So I'm going to 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm going to back stitch at the end. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this to the serger and finish off the edge now. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and hem my sleeve, and I went ahead and pressed up about 5/8 of an inch. So now I'm going to go ahead and sew it down now. Now I'm going to do the hem of the other sleeve the exact same way. Alright, so now that I have my sleeves sewn, I can go ahead and install them into the shirt. So first things first, I need to make sure I have the right sleeve. So this is the back, and this is the back. So first, I always start at the seam here and line those up. Pin those in place. Alright, so now that I have both of my sleeves pinned in place, I'm going to take both of them to the machine. I'm going to sew them in place, and then I'm going to finish off the edges with my serger. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, I'm at a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm going to just stitch all the way around the sleeve, back stitch at the beginning and the end of the stitch. And like I said earlier, when I have this loose tail from my serger thread, I'm just going to lay it right on top of this other thread here and just zigzag it in place. That way it's locked down and it won't come loose. So now I don't have any loose serger tail. I just sewed it down on top of the other serger thread. So yeah. Okay, so I have both of my sleeves installed. The next thing to do is the hem. So I'm just going to take it to my ironing board. I'm going to press up 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to sew it in place the same way I did the sleeves, and then I will add my little label, and this top is all done. Thank you so much for joining me for this Sew With Me video. Today we worked on Mccalls 7630 View B, and I used this beautiful rayon from TÉLIO fabrics. So thank y'all so much, and here's my finished look. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them for me below. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Blessings, everyone. Bye.